Hey y'all, I'm back. I thought I was done, but I just wanted to probably just do this last little video to um, just reiterate what I was speaking on about the whole thing that started this was the fact that I started thinking that I saw something in the word and certain terms, or when people say certain things, it kind of just registers because I spent so much time taking in information, but I never was really jotting it down like that or putting it all together. So um, I didn't want to come bringing anything to anybody to lead to confusion, but the way everything is set up, everything is all confusion, and I just said, hey, I just have to start bringing it to people how I see it. So I might be missing little tidbits here and there, but I just hope you guys get the gist of what I'm doing. I don't want to confuse anybody. I'm not trying to bring anybody into a religion because I'm not in any type of religion. I just see things through the word, and I just don't think that enough that I've ever heard of anybody sharing. I think that people are seeing the same thing, but they're not really having a platform or sharing like that. It just kind of hurts my feelings that so many people are ready just to throw in the book and burn it when I really think that there's useful information. That's it. I don't think of it as any kind of extraordinary. I just see that it's guiding me and it's showing me certain things that I didn't think. And that's why I'm saying before throwing the whole anything away, I like to make sure that I don't really still need something from it. So I don't go to church. I don't subscribe to church, go to any religion or anything, but I'm just seeing these things. So I wanted to read this last part because I wasn't sure if I read it in the other uh, part. But it says this about the report. This was the report. We arrived at the land you sent us to see, and indeed is magnificent country, a land flowing with milk and honey. Here is some fruit of what we. Oh yeah, I did do this part. But the people living there are powerful, and their cities are fortified and very large. And once more, we saw. So if it was fortified, I'm thinking that means like sealed off some kind of way. I'm not really 100% sure, but we saw again, we're talking about Anakim, giants there, and Amalekites living in the south, while the hill country, there was Hittites, Jebusites, and Amorites. Now, that's what I was saying about that whole thing when I told you guys, hold on, when we were watching that video, that they said they had already sent the 3 people over to the other places to go check on the other tribes or to set up in other places, and that that's kind of what had happened in the scripture and then in the story in real life as I was doing digging for information on it. But it's just so funny that you have these 3 tribes here, and like I said, we just talked about the 3 tribes in that story. So, um, okay, let's go up and possess it, for we are able to conquer it, not against people as strong as they are. And the spy said, they would crush us. Um, so the majority report um, of the spies was negative. Um, but see, they went anyway. See, it was negative. Somebody told them, and I think this is like the indigenous scouts maybe told them don't do it, but the government wanted to go ahead and push through, or uh, cluster wanted to, which I think is really Custer, and they have a capital C in my book for cluster. That's why I'm thinking that that must mean something else. I don't. Why would you even go through talking about grapes this much? And also, why would you capitalize that C? And it's in quotation or parentheses as well. So that just made me look at that a little bit harder. The land is full of warriors, people built, and we saw some Anakim, their descendants, an ancient race of giants. And I'm thinking the ancient race of giants. When I think about that, I think about the people that we see in that book, America, the greatest depiction of America, or whatever. But you guys all seen pictures from it. Um, Descendants of an ancient race. We felt like grasshoppers. We felt like grasshoppers before them, and they were tall. Okay. And in the same way in that story, um, it says something about they felt like grasshoppers, but they thought that they probably looked at them the same way. And I noticed that in the uh, Sitting Bull information, It says something about them falling from the sky. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Jeez. Okay, I think here it is. Um, Sitting Bull named Jumping, whatever, whatever, whatever. We read that part already. Um, Sitting Bull had an inspirational vision in which he saw soldiers falling into camps like grasshoppers falling from the sky. The vision hmm, predated the Battle of the Greasy Grass, so on and so forth. And when I read that, it just reminds me of this. It just reminds me of those military things that they do when they fall or jump out of the airplanes from out of the sky. And you will wonder how these people were taken over in their own land and subjected to so much because they didn't have these same tools and these same weapons. So it wasn't a fair fight at all. It says, then the people began weeping aloud and they carried on all night. Their voices rose. And you know how they say that they said that we couldn't do our old Negro spiritual songs and dances anymore and all this other stuff. And, you know, they say that in a native, whatever, but they're still doing it today and nothing's happening. So what happened? Because they're not the original people, so they don't have that power that the original people would be able to maybe conjure up that they once had. So, again, so I'm going to just finish this part and then go back into some stuff I wanted to show you on the computer. I'm still reading out of the Living Bible, not the New Living Translation, but just the Living Bible. And good luck finding one because I tried to find another one and I can't find one like this. So we're in Numbers 14. So they began weeping aloud and they carried on all night. The voices rose in a great chorus of complaints against Moses and Aaron. We wish we had died in Egypt, they wailed, or even here in the wilderness, rather been taken into the country ahead of us. So, I don't know who this is speaking. A lot of times I feel like we're skipping back and forth from the actual people that were coming against certain people, and then we'll just say the invaders or colonizers coming against the Indians, or the Indians actually telling their part coming against the foreigners. So it said, or even in the wilderness, rather than be taken into the country ahead of us. And remember, we're talking about Indian removal, people being displaced and moved into certain lands that they probably knew about these lands, and this is why they probably stayed away, or probably why they went into certain lands. But it says Jehovah will kill us there. Now, so Jehovah must not be the Lord, their God, or their God, or you see what I'm saying? Or they would have just used the same term. Don't let nobody fool you in this making somebody take on all these terms. One of those ways that I say is like when they said that somebody was going to have a child, that one of the women in the Bible were going to have a child, and she was going to name him, not Elijah. It was a different name. And then, somebody said that name also means Christ, or you can use it for Jesus or whatever. And I said, well, that don't make no sense. They would have just used that in the first place. So it made me start looking more into the way that terms are used. And I just see it the way I see it. And that's just it. So anyways, let's go out of here and return to Egypt. The idea swept the camp. Let's elect a leader to take us back to Egypt. They shouted, I'm pretty sure I can find this somewhere in this history. Then Moses and Aaron fell face down on the ground before the people of Israel. Two of the spies, Joshua, son of Nun, and Caleb, son of Jephaniah, ripped their clothes and said to all the people, It is a wonderful country ahead, and the Lord loves us. He will bring us safely into the land and give it to us. It is very fertile, and the land is flowing with milk and honey. Oh, do not rebel against the Lord, and do not fear the people of the land, for they are but bread for us to eat. I don't know exactly what that means, but even when you look at those old pictures from that book I was just telling you about, sorry, a lot of things escape my mind because there's a lot of things usually on my mind, but you'll see people cooking people and cannibalism and stuff like that going on. The Lord is with us, and he has removed his protection from them. Do not be afraid of them. So I don't know exactly what we're talking about here. I'm not going to pretend to know that I'm still going into things. I just want to stay where I was. I just wanted to show you that, and then I wanted to reiterate that part where it says something about the people were crying with a couple other screenshots that I took. And then here you can see where I was just reading from about the grasshopper stuff, but I just decided just to read out of the book. Let's see. And then here we go. Sitting Bull was shot and killed while being arrested by the U.S. And remember, the U.S. is incorporated. And Indian agents. So they went against their brother. Fearful of what this... Okay, so let's see. In 1890, James McLaughlin, the U.S. Indian agent for Fort Yates and Standing Rock, feared that the Lakota leader was able to flee the reservation with the ghost dancer, so he ordered the police to arrest him. Around 5:30 a.m. on December 15th. Officers and 4 volunteers approached his house and whatever. As a young man, he became a leader, and let's see, this is not what I wanted to read. Okay, quotes. Life of Sitting Bull, History of the Indian Wars. The nation is like spring freshet that overruns its banks and destroys all who are in its path. Rallying cry at the battle of... Okay, so I'm pretty sure if I clicked on this, it will go more into it, but there was a rallying cry going on in the Bible too, in Numbers chapter 14 of the people. So it's not easily characterized. Sitting Bull. Okay, the president promised peace with the Indians. We just talked about that in this chapter too. And covertly hatched the something river, including the Black Hills. We also talked about that, I think, in this thing. The Great Sioux Reservation. So did Sitting Bull when the commission sent a messenger over to talk to him. And I think sometimes when we're talking about messengers, we're talking about angels too. Or we might even be talking about scouts that they know have already turned their back, and they just know that this is what these people do. And, but since they were brothers at one point in time, they still can talk to them or deal with them or use them as interpreters or whatever you call the people that do the different languages. You guys know what I'm talking about. To talk to him, the earth is weeping. I'm pretty sure we can go the epic story of the Indian Wars in America's West. So I'm pretty sure if we can go more into this, that's why I tell you when we're talking about the earth, we're talking about the indigenous ones that were probably weeping. Because, what does this say? That they're... Where is it? Little ones. Okay, that they will become slaves. They surely will become slaves if they get killed there. They were worried about that. They were weeping and worried about that. So it's just so funny that that's there. rallying cry in the bat. So here it is again, the rallying cry at the battle. I'd like to look more into it later, but just so I can hurry up and get you guys out of here, I'm not going to go that far. And there it is again, Custer. Trail of Tears. Okay, and there we go again with that word, but I'm still thinking that this can be because they like to switch the term around and scramble the word around to make it look like something, but I'm pretty sure that we're talking about the sons of Anak, or Anakin in the book. Let me see. African slaves were owned. Oh, and that's another thing we have to remember. Like it says, African slaves were owned by Native Americans from the colonial period until the United States, whatever. A slave among wild Indians is amongst as free as his owner. Is almost as free as his owner. The slave finds more of the milk of human kindness in the bosom. Now, here we're talking about bosoms. I'm still looking like, don't they talk about that in the Bible? This is how I see it. I'm just showing you. Let me see. The nation is like a spring freshet that overruns the banks and destroys everything in its path. You are a fool to make yourself slaves to a piece of fat bacon. Some, whatever, it's not easy to characterize Sitting Bull of all the chiefs. We weren't likely to ever see Sitting Bull on a $20 bill. Should Harriet Tubman, the ex-slave, okay, that's something that's totally different. One last, okay, Lakota Native American chief who fought with American troops across the whatever. I am one of the last chiefs of the independent Sioux Nation. So they didn't want to join. And the place I hold among my people was held by me. The life of white man is slavery. So he didn't want anything to do with it. I don't know. That's me. Let me see. So yeah, I think that's it that I wanted to show you guys. I may come back later on with some more stuff, but I mean, you guys get the gist of it. You can look at some of this stuff and go into it and look at it yourself and then go into those chapters. But even I was looking at this and saw this picture of Della Reese, and it says her mother was a full-blooded Cherokee. And then, let me see. Just so we can go ahead and just stick one more little thing in here. The Nephilim was on the earth in those days, and afterwards the sun. And okay, but I want to show you these people. Okay, here's an Anahuian person, and you can definitely 100% tell that this person is a very large person in stature, and that's what we're talking about when we're talking about the sons of God that maybe went ahead and whatever. I'm not going to say what they did or what they didn't do. I'm just saying that it's just, these would probably make me think that we're talking about the, goodness, come on, the giants. Another one right here, you can tell that he's very, very large. And you know what, this guy remind me of the blind guy that played in the Marco Polo series that they have on Netflix. For the Third Eye or Three Eyes or something his name was. This is a giant. This is a guy that's very large. So I think sometimes we share these pictures, we don't understand or understand how, for some reason I think she might have a wig on. But here's another tall person here. and look at how long her hair is and everything. But anyways, we could go on forever. I have a lot of pictures and stuff in here. And then again, like in the other video, here's that picture, and it says right here that this is a Nephilim girl. So what, again, they talk about the Nephilim in the Bible, and I just found it kind of odd. This is one of my favorite pictures, just to kind of get lost in it and look at it. So thanks a lot, and I will see you guys soon.